We are back with Week 7 IDP Waiver Wire pickups. These are guys that we think you're going to need on your rosters. Do you want to win? Do you need the help? Don't forget, you can always check us out, rotoheat.com/Discord to chat with us live. Kraig, let's talk about defensive linemen. Who are we going after?
Defensive linemen. So a lot of these guys, they're sort of edge defensive end, sometimes outside linebackers to know your format, but they're at least defensive ends. And one of the main sites that we look at, which is ESPN, Yahoo, and Sleeper. First one's Uchenna Nwosu, again, edge defensive end, whatever, for the Seattle Seahawks. He's having a quality year after coming over from the Chargers, and he gets to play the Chargers in this coming week. They're at 9th in points allowed to opposing defensive ends. And he's got, 3 tackles for a loss, 3 sacks, 3 pass deflections, got a good number of solos and assists. So I think he's going to have another solid week here going against a banged up Chargers offensive line. Similar situation, Preston Smith. He had been backseat to Zadarius Smith for a number of years, and now he's sort of a backseat to Rashawn Gary, but he's still productive in his own right. He's got 19 combined tackles, 3.5 sacks, 3 tackles for a loss, and they're against the Commanders, who have backup Taylor Heineke at quarterback and still just a terrible offensive line that gives up the most points to opposing edge rushers. Next one is sort of a injury fill-in type of guy, but Samson Ebukam has had a really nice past couple of weeks. He's had a 76% snap share the past 2 weeks as opposed to 51% in the prior weeks. He's had 5 solos, 6 assists, 2 tackles for a loss, and half a sack in the past 2 weeks. They're going to be facing the Chiefs, so there's going to be plenty of opportunity for him to get a tackle for a loss, as it's probably going to be a run-heavy game for at least part of it until the Chiefs try to blow out the 49ers. And the last one here, a defensive tackles guy. I really like Dexter Lawrence, second for the Giants. He's having a really nice year. He has a huge snap share, which is just under 85%, which is just astounding for defensive linemen. Got 10 solos, 12 assists, 4 sacks, 3 tackles for a loss, and some other odds and ends in there. They're facing the Jaguars, who give up the 3rd most points to opposing defensive tackles, so he's also just in a great spot this week.
Yeah, I mean, Dexter Lawrence is finally showing out to be the guy that some of us had hoped he'd be coming out of college, so that's a really great sign. All right, linebackers. We've got a bunch of guys and an honorable mention for you, so we've got plenty of options. Talk about these guys.
So Quincy Williams was a guy you heard us talk about a lot last year, and he did all right at the start of the year, but he fell off people's radar. He was out weeks 4 and 5. He was back against the Packers. He had an 81% snap share with 14 combined tackles. He can be in every week starter if you have 2 or more linebackers that you're starting, especially with bye weeks and the injuries that are piling up. He's under 5% rostered and like across the board sites that I've seen. So he's a great pickup. Another one that's sort of a number 2 linebacker, if you call it, for his own team, Germaine Pratt has stuck around there next to Logan Wilson for the Bengals. He's got 22 solos, 22 assists, 2 tackles for a loss, 3 pass deflections. And that's just in 5 games. He didn't miss a game. He has at least 5 combined tackles in every game this year. And especially, tackle heavy leagues, clearly, with those 22 solos and 22 assists, that's just a great spot to be in. But he should at least have flex value for most leagues. Blake Martinez is a guy that I'm picking up if I have extra bench space, because I think he's going to end up having a starting job and breaking out for the Raiders. He has familiarity with their defensive coordinator, Patrick Graham. He played for him in Green Bay and then with the Giants. He played 7 snaps, which isn't a lot, but getting his feet wet against the against the Chiefs in week 5. He got a solo tackle in, 7 snaps, which isn't bad when you look at, if you extrapolate that out. He had a week to learn the system more in the bye week in week 6, and they're going against the Texans. So I'm not saying start him this week, but if you want to grab a guy early, I think he's a guy to grab.
Yep.
Next one is really injury-based. If Michael Walker is still out for the Falcons, Troy Anderson started, had 100% of the snaps this past week. There's a lot of chatter in the Roto Heat Discord, so if you want to go in there, you'll see Austin had been talking him up, and then one of our other guys in there, Porterhouse Gamer, is a big Troy Anderson fan, so a lot of conversation about him, but I don't think he's worth starting in your lineup if he's not starting for the Falcons.
Yeah.
And finally, Alex Singleton, he's had 2 great games for the Denver Broncos with Josie Jewell injured and then out. Jewell didn't practice at all last week, so keep an eye on it, because if he is healthy, I think he's going to start over Singleton. That's the way it's been this year. But if he's out again, Singleton makes a great add. Just, don't expect those 21 tackles that he had this past week against the Chargers.
No, it's feast or famine with him for sure. All right, so finish us off. Let's talk some defensive backs, and 2 of them are on the same team, but they're both being productive at this point. What are we doing here?
Yeah, so Grant Delpit and John Johnson III, both big names for different reasons. John Johnson III, had been with the Rams and just been a defensive back IDP stud for a number of years. And then Grant Delpit was a big name coming out of LSU, had sort of that lost first year getting hurt. But they're both, pretty much unowned in most leagues, it seems, just going by the rostership and ESPN Yahoo Sleeper. They're both around the top 25 on the different scoring systems. Of course, we use the RotoHeat scoring system. You can check out at rotoheat.com. But they're both getting tackles. That's sort of our baseline if you want to be adding someone as a safe play. Delpit's got 28 solos and 9 assists. John Johnson's got 26 solos and 10 assists. And they're facing the Ravens. The Ravens give up something like the 6th most points to opposing safeties this year. Both these guys are physical, not afraid to go up and make the tackle against a team that's going to run a lot. So both of those guys, again, I think are great ads. Guy similar to Quincy Williams we talked about got injured. Jayron Kearse for the Dallas Cowboys. He's coming back.
Yep.
He's played the past 2 weeks in a limited snap share compared to what he had been. 78 and 80% still isn't bad. He's got 9 combined tackles over those 2 games, which isn't fantastic. You'd be wanting a little bit more, but the Cowboys have sort of made clear now they're comfortable playing 3 safeties with Malik Hooker and Donovan Wilson out there as opposed to, 3 linebackers or something like that. And Kearse gets used all over the field. He's sort of that, Swiss Army knife for Dan Quinn. He goes to the slot, plays deep, plays up on the line, all over the place. So he was really low owned, especially in Yahoo. So take a look at that. And then for our cornerback, DJ Reed Jr. of the Jets, he's playing more snaps than Sauce Gardner, but Sauce Gardner is getting all the press, of course, because, he's a young, flashy rookie and then showing up the Packers. Good. Reed has 22 solos, 2 pass deflections, and a couple odds and ends for other stuff. He has at least 3 solos each week from week 2 on. And the Steelers are who they face in week 7, who are giving up the 2nd most points allowed to opposing cornerbacks. So he's going to have a great chance to continue to get you those safe tackles, which, again, that's what you're looking for in a cornerback streamer.
Well, and teams are starting to treat Sauce. I don't want to say like he's their lockdown number 1, but they're treating him as such. So they're targeting the other side of the field a little bit more. So that gives a Reed a better opportunity to soak up as many tackles as possible. So it's a good play this week. Definitely a smart way to go. All right, folks, if you need help, if you have more waiver wire pickups that we didn't talk about, mention them in the comments below. Ask away. Hit us up on Discord if you've got guys that you're looking at and you need some people to talk to about it. We're always here to help. We'll see you guys next week.